Students, welcome to my YouTube channel and this YouTube video for test number 4 review. Congratulations, you got to the end of the course and now you will be taking this last test. The last test video and the review file you can find by going to Canvas. You can see the Canvas right here. This is your class. Click on the course, go to the modules, and in the modules, scroll down to Test 4 module. So it's going to be after chapter 11. We did not cover chapter 13 right here. Here is a link to this video, and here is a link to the PowerPoint file. So again, the first link is the YouTube video link, and this is the PowerPoint file, which I'm going to use right now. I have already opened it. Here we go. So the last test is not comprehensive. You're welcome. It only will cover the last two chapters, chapter 10 and 11, which are the hardest chapters of our course. As the previous test, it will have the same number of points, the same format, and it will be open for 2 days, from Sunday 12:01 a.m. until Monday 11:55 p.m. So the following Tuesday, I will be able to finalize your final percentages, post them to Canvas, as well as I will post your final grades, and I will send you an email when that's all finished and done. You will finish your test in one attempt. You cannot save and exit, and you will have 3 hours to complete it. As always, I build in 5 extra points into your test. The test is a mixture of multiple choice questions, but because we have only 2 chapters, you will have more questions and problems per chapter. You will have 10 multiple choice questions per chapter for the total of 20 questions at 2 points each, which would be 40 points. So out of 155 points, 40 points come from multiple choices. And that means that 115 points come from the problems, and you will have 9 problems from chapters 10 and 11. The format of the test is the same as before. You cannot print or copy the test. If you get locked out, please contact me right away. Each student has a different set of problems and questions. You will be able to see the results of the test right away, and they will be transferred from Connect to Canvas within 20-25 minutes. You can go back to the test after the deadline, Monday 11:56 p.m. to see what you missed. Do it right away, because after we're done with the class, probably by Wednesday or Thursday, I will cease your access. I will close the class, so you will not be able to access it on Canvas any longer. So, problems to expect. As I said, a lot of your points, probably about 70% of your points come from problems. In chapter 10, you will have these 4 types of problems. You will have to do journal entries. I have a typo here. You will have to journalize bond issuances and interest payments for 3 types of bonds. Bonds issued at par, at a discount, and at a premium. So you will have to make a journal entry for the issuance and then a journal entry for the first interest payment. If you're asked to do a journal entry for the second or third interest payments, they're all the same. Interest payments under straight line amortization are the same. I will ask you to prepare a table for straight line amortization of either premium or discount. We've done it in your homework, we've done it in our in-class activities and practice, so please review it, where you will have to start with the premium and amortize it down to 0, and you will also have to figure out the carrying value of the bond. Or discount. Start with the discount, get to the 0, and figure out your carrying value of the bond. I will ask you to calculate bond pricing using time value of money. You will use the present value of $1 factor to calculate the present value of the par value, the actual face value of the bond. And then present value, right here, I should say present value of $1 annuity, where you calculate present value of the interest payments. You add them together, and that's how you figure out bond price, which is the cash proceeds, cash debit. And then I will give you one problem on the installment, long-term notes payable with equal payments, where you figure out the cash payment and the proportion of that payment that goes towards interest versus towards principal called notes payable. In Chapter 11, you will journalize stock issuances for par and non-par stocks. So if it's a par stock, you debit cash at market price, you credit common stock at the par value, and you also credit the excess account, paid in capital in excess of par value for the difference. No par stocks, you debit and credit cash and common stock for the same amount calculated at the market price of the stock. I will also ask you to calculate cash dividends for common versus preferred stock. Remember that preferred stocks have to be paid off completely. If there are any dividends in arrears, we have to fulfill that payment before we can pay any dividends to the common stock. And then, guys, you will have to record and report treasury stock transactions. The journal transaction when we buy treasury stock, and then later we sell it at cost, above cost, and or below cost. I will also ask you to calculate and interpret three ratios from Chapter 11, EPS, which is earnings per share, P/E ratio, which is price to earnings ratio, and the percentage called dividend yield. So these are the problems to expect. A lot of challenging material, but also very exciting material. These are your key terms for Chapter 10. You can see here that we covered types of bonds, secured, unsecured, serial, callable, and convertible. We talked about advantages and disadvantages of bonds. We talked about bonds issued at par value, discount, and premium. I do ask you to cover Appendix A, which I covered in our class, so you have to calculate the bond price, carrying value of bonds, differences between the stated or contract rate versus market rate. We did straight line bond amortization, and we dealt with two new accounts. Discount on bonds payable, which is a contra liability, plus minus, and the premium on bonds payable, which is called an adjunct liability. So it has the same signs as the main account, liability account, minus plus. And we talked about installment notes such as mortgages, as well as debt to equity ratio. The last chapter, Chapter 11, we talked about the corporations, their structure, their advantages and disadvantages, the process of incorporation. We also listed 5 rights to common stockholders. I distinguished among authorized shares, issued shares, and outstanding shares. We talked about par value stock versus no par value stock. I also gave you the structure of stockholders' equity, which consists of the paid-in capital with multiple accounts, common stock, excess, treasury stock, preferred stock. Those are all accounts below the paid-in capital. And then retained earnings, or I like to call it earned capital, which is just one account, and it's your profit or net income or earnings minus dividends. We talked about cash dividends with 3 dates and stock dividends with 3 dates. We also described cumulative preferred stock, talked about how to calculate dividends for preferred stock and the reasons why companies issue preferred stock. Then we focused on treasury stock, reasons why companies buy back their own shares of stock, and how we journalize the purchase of treasury stock shares and also the consequential sale of treasury shares at cost, above cost, or below cost. We looked at the stockholders' equity, statement of stockholders' equity, very briefly. And guys, we covered these 4 ratios: EPS, P/E ratio, dividend yield, and the book value per share. So I hope you all do well on the last test and you finish strong. As I said, on Tuesday, I will finalize your grades and post them on Canvas. Good luck on the last test.